Today, I know we got a little bit of relief from the election cycle, but I'm sorry, I got to bring it back, and we were going to talk about
here we go.
Kamala Harris and the DEA playing the blame game on discussing the delay in rescheduling. Vice President Kamala Harris says part of the reason for the delay in the administration's marijuana rescheduling effort is federal bureaucracy that slows things down, including the Drug Enforcement Administration, or DEA. The 2024 Democratic presidential nominee briefly addressed the rescheduling process during a town hall hosted by Charlamagne the God of the radio show The Breakfast Club. She also pushed back against claims that her pro-legalization position runs counter to her record as a San Francisco prosecutor and California attorney general, saying those assertions are, quote, simply not true, end quote. Just one day after rolling out a plan to end federal cannabis prohibition, the vice president was asked about the more modest reform of rescheduling, a proposal that the Justice Department formally put forward earlier this year after receiving a recommendation from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, or HHS, to move cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act. She said that the process of reclassifying marijuana has been slower than the administration would like because, quote, we had to work with the DEA, end quote. There's a certain level of bureaucracy that exists in the federal government that slows things down, but essentially to bring down how weed is classified, how marijuana is classified, to make it classified as a lesser harm, that took some time. There's a whole process around that, but that's the work that we have done, in addition to work that we have done writ large on criminal justice reform. As vice president, I have been a champion for bringing marijuana down on the CSA, so instead of it being ranked up there with heroin, we bring it down, she said. My pledge is, as president, I will work on decriminalizing it because I know exactly how those laws have been used to disproportionately impact certain populations, and specifically black men. And that's the end of her quote on that. The vice president in March also expressed some frustration with the bureaucratic process of rescheduling marijuana prior to the DOJ's formal recommendation, calling on the DEA to expediently finish the job. She also privately promoted her pro-legalization message during a roundtable event that day with presidential marijuana pardon recipients. While the DOJ has recommended rescheduling, the proposal has faced resistance from the DEA, which has scheduled a hearing on the proposal for December 2nd, after the presidential election, raising concerns that the process will not be completed until after a new president is inaugurated. Separately, Harris was asked about criticism of her record as a prosecutor who oversaw certain cannabis-related prosecutions. Charlamagne said, quote, one of the biggest pieces of misinformation and one of the biggest allegations against you is that you targeted and locked up thousands of black men over marijuana. She responded, it's just simply not true. What public defenders who are around these days will tell you is I was the most progressive prosecutor in California on marijuana cases and would not send people to jail for simple possession of marijuana. Former President Donald Trump, the 2024 GOP nominee, separately went after Harris on over her prosecutorial record on marijuana in July, claiming that she put thousands and thousands of black people in jail for cannabis offense. But the full record of her time in office is more nuanced. I'm not going to go into this because we've covered her prosecutorial record ad nauseum on this show. If you'd like to read the rest of the article, you can find it on the website. Shout out to Marijuana Moment for breaking this story. This is Sohum reporting from the ATX. Let's throw it back to the team and see what everyone has to say.
It's only Austin.
Take the bait, Jason.
It's only Austin. You guys.
ATX.
Jason always takes the bait.
Mm-hmm.
Jason always takes the bait.
I love
He's
bait.
our favorite fishy.
I love bait. You know what I'm saying? That's how
I
think we're going to, as I said earlier, we're going to see how much opposition there is inside the DEA to this. Because, you know, the people in the marijuana movement since the 1970s have been fighting the DEA's foot dragging.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to, you know, what Kamala is saying, oh, gee, they're dragging their feet. Well, no shit, Sherlock. They've been dragging their feet for decades now because there are forces inside the DEA that don't want this to happen. And removal of the Chevron doctrine is liable to throw this all into out of these regulatory committees and these administrative hearings into the federal courts where who knows what's liable to happen. It just seems like a whole lot of rat race if they just got Congress to kick this out of the Controlled Substances Act, as apparently Kamala wants to happen. But I'm just not sure we're going to get all those stars to line up.
I wish I could find the sound clip from when we first started talking about this way back when, right? Before we were yelling at each other on every episode. And I made the comment that we're going to see this be something that stalls until after the election because she's going to need more time. And you got to elect me because I need more time. It's not my fault this didn't happen. Well, what about the 3.5 years we've already had? And I'm not just talking about Kamala. I don't believe that any of these candidates are actually going to do something that is meaningful for this industry.
Well, I will say this is basically what's happening is this little meme that's going on right now is they're just pointing the fingers and this and that. And how is Kamala going to come through on her campaign promise of legalizing cannabis if while she's part of the administration, they can't even get the DEA to reschedule to Schedule 3?
I think you need to stop putting it in those terms.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
You do because she ain't in charge. There's an empty seat that's in charge right now with Joe Biden.
I don't
Joe
know.
Biden in the couch in the basement, wherever the hell.
I'd say she's more in charge than Jill. She's more of an elected official than Jill is.
Honestly, I've never heard so many people until this election cycle hold up the vice presidency as some omnipotent office. Like, that is a lame duck office.
What do you mean?
It has always been that. All of a sudden, now people think the vice president is the most powerful person in the White House.
Well, it is until number one is incapable. That is literally the job of number two. Is you step in with number one.
Day one.
Number one is clearly not.
Day one of his presidency. Why didn't Mike Pence take over?
Hold on.
Why did he not do all of this stuff for the whole 4 years Trump was in office?
What was
Pence doing? No, I said I don't believe that either are going to do anything that's meaningful for this industry because we don't matter to them. We are just a way to pander for black and brown votes. Get it through your head, people. My head hurts. I can't even say it anymore.
I just have to push back, Jenny Beth, on that one comment that you made back before we were yelling over each other. Like, that's been day one. Come on, girl.
All right. Well, Sohum, this is the whole thing. Okay. Here's what this all breaks down. You cannot have someone like Kamala Harris trying to push this, and you're right, she is in charge. And the last time that we had a vice president that was in charge, the whole presidency was under Bush number 2. Dick Cheney, and who also endorsed Kamala Harris and got us into more wars. And so I'm going to leave it at that.
I mean,
yeah,
I agree with you about Dick Cheney. I agree with you about Dick Cheney, but
just saying,
I definitely don't agree with you that Kamala Harris has been in charge since day one.
She's in charge right now. She's in charge right now.
Listen, man, Kamala Harris is the perfect unifying candidate. She has all of these Republicans and Democrats that everybody hates. They all are rhinos. They all are endorsing her.
Those are all the war.
They are all endorsed. They are all endorsed. If you want Mitt Romney, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, all rolled into one person, that's Kamala Harris. Like, she's the perfect candidate for everybody who wants things to just keep on humming along. And if you want absolute chaos, racism, and craziness and chaos in the streets, that's Donald Trump. Congratulations, America. It's all we got here.
Kamala Harris is the presidential version of the social equity applicant that's not going to get more than 10%.
Kamala Harris is she is everything rolled into one and nothing rolled into nothing. She's whatever you want her to be, whatever you don't want her to be, she's going to be that. And Donald Trump, like, who knows if he even knows what the fuck day it is, what year it is, who's in front of him, or who's changing his Depends next.
Oh, boy.
Donald Trump
Don't shout out Jason's position.
He's going to be replaced by J.D. Vance. So what is J.D. Vance's stance on cannabis? Because there's a real risk that J.D. Vance could be our next president.
Whatever Peter Thiel says.
He's selling THC infused guy liner. Last time I seen
J.D. Vance will be the president after Trump is reelected and completes his.
Then let's
years.
be honest about J.D. Vance. He is a hand puppet for Peter Thiel and a handful of other libertarian billionaires from Silicon Valley. Peter Thiel's hand is so far up J.D. Vance's ass, puppeting him by the mouth. So if you want to know what his position is, let's look at what Peter Thiel's position is on cannabis legalization, and that'll tell you what J.D. Vance's position is.
It is a family show. We don't want to see those positions.
Yeah, easy there, Sohum. Easy there. Whoa.
That's where we're drawing the line.
Yes, fisting is where we're drawing the line.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, we don't know what goes down up there in Austin.
That was not meant to be a sexual comment, but if that's what we're doing,
I know, but you got to understand we're speaking with Jason and Rico, so you got to just pretend that you're talking to a room full of 15-year-old boys because the towels are cracking and asses are getting slapped.
Well,
hey man,
thank God it's afternoon here, because after this, I'm about to go celebrate National Liquor Day and take a fucking shot.
Is this what Donald Trump referred to as locker room talk, Jenny Beth?
Or
Probably.
Or at the same time, you can go to the bar, and since it's National Bra Day, you could be like, you're trying to pop some bras.
Nah, man, I'm triggered. It should be National Bro Day. What about men? What about men?
I do feel that we're getting
well, it's also
discriminated
Breast
against.
Cancer Awareness Month, so that might be why it has something to do with Bra Day. There are a lot of fundraisers where you decorate bras or whatever. People donate to vote on them for the best design, and the money is given to breast cancer survivors. So that could be why Mr. Jump Over Women and their Breast Cancer Month.
Shout out to Victoria's Secret.
Hey, shout out! Hey, make sure you guys support something other than Susan G. Komen. Check the receipts. Check the receipts on that and where that money has been in the past in that organization.
Pantene has a beautiful fundraiser that gives wigs to women who are victims of breast cancer or survivors of breast cancer. Excuse me. So,
check the receipts on Pantene too. Who owns that and where that money's going?
Pro V owns that.
I have. It's better.
It's better.
Yeah.
Love it.
They're not selling the wigs like Locks for Love is.
You ready to go? You ready to roll, Rico?
Thank you all for joining us for another heated episode of High at 9 News. You can catch us live weekdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, high noon on the East Coast. Big shout out to the super fans getting their comments posted on the big screen. Do we have any today, Jason?
We did not have any, unfortunately. I did not see any today. I
thought we had one at the beginning.
No. That was yesterday.
Oh man, me and Jason, we going hungry today.
Yeah,
man.
we're starving. Starving like Marvin, wondering like Stevie Wonder. When we're gonna get a super chat.
Wondering like Stevie, Charles and like Ray. Yeah, for everybody else out there, all of our live audience supporters, catching us across all media platforms, tuning in each day to the headlines of chaos, also known as the developing cannabis industry. Vetted correspondent team tuning in from all over, bringing us much needed variety of perspective and your respective opinions to the table. Production team, Cloud Media Partners, all the sponsors keeping the lights on, AV struggles to a minimum. Millie back there keeping things a Millie.
And thank you to Catalyst today. Much appreciation, Catalyst, helping us keep these lights on over here.
Making sure that the weed that we talk about every day is for the people, indeed. And always, Cannabis Sativa L, the reason why we show up to read these headlines daily. Thank you, too. Even if it's these Trump packs, these Kamala Kush, or whatever y'all want to call it, support that, too. It has been Wednesday, October 16, 2024. Show's over. You all been blessed with the top industry headlines. Hope it's enough for you to put your pipe and smoke at least until tomorrow. My name is Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for cannabis industry's #1 daily news show, High at 9 News. And today we're going to pop things right back out to the freshest man in the house today, Omar Figueroa. Got some closing remarks for us, Counselor?
Yes, remember to engage in random acts of kindness. Give away some cannabis today. It feels good.